Me and my boyfriend have been together for a year. My boyfriend has been taking care of his siblings since his oldest sister was born. When he was 18 he moved out of his parents' house and took them with him. He currently has custody over all his siblings. He is a really hard worker and I haven't seen him or his siblings struggle at all. They have all they need and as far as no has never gone to bed hungry because of him. One of the reasons I fell in love with him is because of his caring nature, especially for his siblings. Not gee-nining to explain the whole dynamics as I know it, but when I say taking care, I mean he took care of them from buying food, to helping with homework. He did it all. He was basically mom and dad for them and he still finished school in the process. His youngest brother even calls him dad. His parents are the definition of deadbeats. Current situation with them is that they don't even know if their parents are alive, and they have no other family. These four is all that is left of the whole family. I slept over at his house last night. This morning around 6 a.m. his sister, 12F, came into the kitchen crying hysterically. She woke up with blood in her pants and freaked out. She started with her period. My boyfriend got her to calm down and explain that she is alright and everything will be okay. He then gave her a brief explanation of what is happening and that her body is changing. He asked her to go and take a shower to get cleaned up and told her where to find the pads his other sister, 16F, is using and to use them as the oldest sister showed her. When she left to go and take a shower he said, "Shit, I thought we would have another year left." I asked what he meant and he said his sister, 16 liters, started her period when Say was 13 and he knows not all females and bodies are the same but he thought it would be around the same time. So he was a bit unprepared, forced discussing. I was shocked with that comment and the fact that he knew his sister used pads. Why does he know when she started her period in the first place? Why does he know what she uses? I wanted to ask him why he knows this but kept the question to myself. When his sister returned from her shower he asked if ever time was alright or is she having any discomfort. I started to get disgusted when he asked that question. He told her she doesn't have to go to school today and he will take her for some shopping. After breakfast he sat her down in the living room and explained everything in detail to her, regarding what is going on, what will happen, all of it. He said he helped the older sister with her first time and will help her as well. He finished with saying that her sister, 16, will be able to help her more with the type of products to use and how they work. I was surprised, shocked and disgusted about all the thing he told her. He was correct in everything that he told her, but no brother should know that much about what is happening to his sister's bodies. Unfortunately his oldest sister wasn't at home to help. She had a sleepover at a friend due to a project for school. So he took charge of explaining everything. He must have seen the disgust in my face and asked me what is wrong and it just slipped out. I told him, "You are a disgusting pig." The words just kept coming out of my mouth. I couldn't stop talking. I told him exactly what I thought about the situation and that it's disgusting that he knows that much, especially about his own sisters, and is now trying to coach the younger sister on what to do. He just asked me to leave. He didn't argue, yell, nothing, just said leave my house. I know I went about it in the wrong way but my stance is the same. No brother should know that much about his own sister's body function. Ada. Edit, if you don't believe me that is fine, but don't comment. I was there, I said what I said. Don't know what I can say other than what I know to proof this is real. I just want to know if my stance is correct and if I should apologize for everything I said. Seeing some of the comments I think you guys are not understanding my point. I don't want to sound mean but he could have just called his sister to explain everything to her, or better asked me to explain it to her. I would have been a lot better if it came from another girl. Yes, he explained everything correctly and even told her about the different products to use but said the other sister will explain those, beat her as she has experience in what actually works. Why didn't he ask me to explain anything to her? I would have done it gladly. There are certain things that should stay private and especially a brother should not know. Update 1. First and last 2, everyone saying he would leave me. You were right, he dumped me. I went to his house to apologize to him and his little sister, the 16-year-old, was there as well. She slapped me and shouted at me, calling me vile names. She shouted at me for trying to break the family apart and trying to say her father is a pedo. My now ex got her to stop and sent her to her room along with the other siblings. I wanted to apologize but before I could even start he told me to keep my mouth shut and listen. He forgave me before I even asked for forgiveness but said what he can't forgive is the fact that I basically turned his little sister against him and making her doubt his intentions. It took him almost the full day to get her to talk to him and she only talked to him after the 16-year-old assured her that he did nothing wrong and only want to help her like he helped her. His exact words was, "You turned one of my children against me, that is something I can't and will not forgive. You are dead to me, now get the fuck out of my house." He said it with so much anger in his voice and I could see in his eyes that he absolutely hated me in that moment. I was actually scared for myself in that moment. I have talked to some of my friend about this and you all might be galled to hear but I'm losing friends as well. Even my own sister is now refusing to talk to me. Yes, in our house my father had nothing to do with our periods and my mom handled everything. What should I have done? I thought he did something wrong. I can see I'm in the wrong but still am I being punished for this? His words really hurt me. That is not fair. I didn't even get a chance to explain myself or anything. After he was done talking he again just kicked me out of his house. I am blocked everywhere and can't get a hold of him. I even tried his sister phone but I'm also blocked there. Edit, please stop asking me for his contact number and his name in the comments and PM. I'm not giving that to anyone. Why would I do that and have one of you try and steal him from me? I screwed up, I know, but I will fix it and get him back. I really do love him and I know he still love me. This was just a speed bump. Just wait and see, we will be together again. Sorry for the throwaway, I only have Reddit for the parenting subs to help me with the raising of my 3 siblings and I don't want this linked back to me as I am a private person. I 28 meters am currently taking care of my 3 younger siblings. 12M, 12F, 16F since my sister 16F was born. Our parents are nowhere to be found. I don't know if they are in the same state or even in America at the moment, dead or alive, and I don't really care. I don't know what happened, but when my first sibling was born everything was passed on to me, and the same with my other siblings as soon as they were born as well. Long story short, and to give a basic description, I am mom and dad to my siblings. I have taken care of them all of their lives. They know I'm their brother but sometimes slip up and call me dad. Our home became completely toxic, and when I turned 18 I moved out into a small 2-bedroom apartment and took my siblings with me. I worked myself to the bone with taking care of my siblings, working in school. It took me longer than I would like to admit, but I finished school and got a good job. I eventually saved up enough and bought a house for me and my siblings, 4 years ago. I took the legal steps after I got my house and my siblings are now legally in my custody. I did get in a bit of trouble from the social worker because I never reported anything, but all legal matter have now been settled. The reason for me posting here. A couple of months ago, like 4 or 5 I think, I broke up with my then girlfriend of 1 year. My little sister got her period and I helped her through her first period. She got cleaned up and then I explaining everything in detail to her. My now ex completely blew up on me and called me a pig, creep, pedo and a bunch of other things. My sister 12F just ran out of the living room and locked herself in her room. I told my ex to leave my house. It took me almost the full day to get my sister to talk to me, and she only did after my other sister 16F came home from a sleepover for her to talk to me. My sister 16F helped a lot by also explaining that I did nothing wrong. She even told my sister 12F that I helped her through her first period and that she is lucky because she now has 2 people to help her. Me and her, 16F, my ex did come back to my house, but I told her we were done and kicked her out again. The problem was that she started to follow us around, stalking us. Every store I went into she all of a sudden was there. If we went to the park she was at the park. I did block her and made sure that she was blocked on all of my siblings' phones as well, but we did start to receive phone calls and messages from other numbers that was clearly her trying to excuse her actions with a sob story. This went on for a month until she tried to sign my little brother and sister out of school one morning after I dropped them off with a fake permission letter. Luckily the receptionist called me and I was able to stop her from signing my siblings out of school. That is when I filed for the restraining order. I got all the evidence, photos, messages, calls, everything, and we got the restraining order. Me or my siblings running into her at places dropped considerably. She has violated the restraining order a couple of times since then, and when I went to the police they told me they couldn't do much as it can't be proven that she is doing it deliberately, and when we run into her she doesn't stop us, she just continues on her way or leave wherever we are at. I don't know how she knows where we are all the time, but I have seen her multiple times even when I changed my schedule for when I do things, changed the stores where I buy groceries, shopping, everything. Recently the house next to mine got put on the market for rent and guys who want to rent it. I noticed her showing up to the house with a real estate agent to look at the house. She came up to me with a smile and said, "I guess we will be neighbors from now on." I went into the house and showed the real estate agent the restraining order and then called the police. This time they took me seriously and my ex was arrested. My ex lost the house as the company is refusing her business, and the agent has given a statement to the police that my ex has asked specifically to rent the house next to mine. My ex was arrested but not imprisoned and only had to pay a fine. I am now receiving a bunch of calls and messages calling me an asshole for destroying my ex's life. She is being evicted from her apartment, same rental company. She might lose her job as she can't find a place to stay within her budget and possibly has to move back in with her parents living in a different state. Her own sister and friends are refusing to help her. Don't really know why they don't want to help her, but I don't see that as my problem as long as my siblings are safe. Some of my own friend are calling me an asshole because me enforced the restraining order and causing my ex unnecessary problems as she is really no threat to me and I am now being vindictive. Edit. I appreciate everyone telling me about an old post made by my ex. Yes, that is about me and my situation. I wasn't aware she posted and not really happy that she did, but I can't do anything about that now. She was a lovely woman when I got to know her, and when we started dating, she got along with my siblings until the morning she blew up at me for trying to help my sister with her first period. I don't know if she was acting or what happened, but she completely flipped after that. I also now know why her sister and some of her friends are refusing to help her. That is her own doing, the same with the situation she is finding herself in. Regarding her post, I will never take her back. That will not happen. My siblings are my priority. She is deranged if she thinks that I will ever take her back or even consider it. Regarding some of my friends that are saying I'm taking things too far and being vindictive. I didn't mention it in my post and didn't really want to make it a gender issue, but the friends who are saying I'm going too far being vindictive and that she is no real threat are also women. I will have a conversation with them and explain everything in detail to them again. If they still don't agree with my actions, I will cut them off. The only reason I'm giving this chance to them is because they have helped a lot with my siblings, especially my sisters, when I came to advice. Now, second story. Wife's true feelings toward my son were revealed by her family, causing me to question our relationship and contemplate divorce. I, 28 male, got drunk at a friend's wedding and a woman, Anna 39F, whom I had rejected multiple times throughout the night, ended up forcing herself on me while I was nearly passed out. It was a whole mess and I fell into a deep depression. Things got worse when Anna showed up at my door after a few weeks saying she was pregnant. I begged her to have an abortion and leave me alone, but my dad and stepmother welcomed her into our house like nothing had happened. I never wanted to have kids, so when this happened I was clear with Anna that I didn't want anything to do with her, but I'd pay child support. I also cut contact with my dad for supporting her. After a few months, my son was born and Anna just disappeared. Nobody knew where she went or they didn't want to tell me. My dad also refused to help because I had cut him off, so I was on my own. To be honest, I fell in love with my baby right away. Seeing him fight to survive and then holding him in my arms was the happiest moment of my life. And while it was hard, I made it work, just the two of us. Then, 3 years ago I met my wife Claire, 26F. We dated for 1 year and have been married for 2. Even when we were just dating she was always perfect and she adored my son Archie, 5M now. She would play with him and read him stories and never said anything bad about him. She knew what had happened, but she was so loving and understanding, and I thought I had won the lottery by meeting her. The same happened when I met Claire's family. Everyone was so welcoming and they loved Archie so much. They offered to babysit him and even took him on vacation so Claire and I could have a weekend to ourselves. A few weeks ago I told Claire that I wanted to have a vasectomy so we could have a better sex life. She asked me if I was really sure, and when I said yes she got very quiet and changed the subject. Now, even before we got married I was very clear that I didn't want any more children. At the time she said she was fine with that because we already had Archie. I knew she was upset, so I brought it up constantly until she finally admitted that she was hoping I'd changed my mind so we could have another child. Claire said she understood why I didn't want kids in the first place due to my childhood, but that I had become a perfect dad to Archie and I'd be a perfect dad for our second child too. She also said she had asked him if he wanted a little brother or sister and he had been very excited about it. I got upset when she said this and accused her of trying to manipulate my son, so we ended up having a big fight about it. The next day she apologized, but she still wanted me to think it over. She said she'd support me no matter what I decided, but that this was important to her. I told her that I was hurt because she had never mentioned this before and she just said that she was allowed to change her mind. Finally, she told me that we should talk with her parents so I could hear from them before making a decision. I admit I freaked out because I didn't want to discuss my sex life with my in-laws, but she assured me that she had just told them because they were close and she was looking for advice on how to bring it up to me. Anyway, last night we had dinner with her parents. We visit them every other Thursday since that's my Phil's day off, and it was a disaster. I explained how I'd never wanted kids until Archie was born and how even then he was the exception. For their part, they told me how much Claire wanted to have a child of her own and how this could be good for all of us. Where things got messy was when they said they wanted to have their first grandchild. I told them that Claire and I had been talking about her adopting Archie, and my mill said but he still wouldn't be my real grandson. They also said how they loved my son but they couldn't love him like a real family member because they were not related by blood. Finally, my wife said she was having second thoughts about the adoption because Archie already had a mom and she didn't think she'd be able to bond with him like a real mother, so that's also why she wanted to have a child of her own. I was devastated, but I didn't want to make a scene in front of my in-laws, so I just told them I'd think about it and to give me some time. So now I'm sitting at home, thinking that I don't really know Claire. I didn't know she felt this way about my son and wondering if she had been pretending all this time. If we have another kid, I believe she and her family will just ignore Archie in favor of their real grandchild. And if we don't have another child, I fear she will just resent us or even become abusive towards my son. But at the same time, I don't want to throw away an otherwise perfect relationship and I really love Claire. Would I be the if I divorce my wife over this? I don't know if I'm overreacting or if this relationship can be saved. Any advice would also be welcome since I don't have anyone else I can talk to right now. Edit. Thanks everyone for the comments. I haven't been able to reply to everyone, but I'd like to answer some questions. 1. Did I talk to my wife about not having children before we got married? Yes, we had the discussion at least 3 times and she always mentioned she was okay with it. 2. Do I treat her like a nanny or there is money involved? No. I earn more than she does, but she still has a good job. She does work from home, but Archie is still in daycare because I want him to socialize with other children and I didn't want her work to be affected by having to look after a toddler all the time. 3. Will I get therapy? I've had a therapist for 4 years now. Archie is also in therapy. 4. Why didn't I have a vasectomy years ago? I got no excuses here. I'm just an idiot. 5. Why did I get married after only 1 year of dating? We were both in love and rushed into things. I'm also an idiot for this, apparently. 6. Did I get a DNA test? WTF? I didn't get a paternity test right away when he was born because I didn't care. I had already put my name on his birth certificate and after Anna left I just wanted to take care of him. I did eventually get a paternity test done. Spoiler alert, he is mine, but it was mostly for legal purposes since I wanted to take him out of the country for a job opportunity. 7. Wah, she happened to Anna? Who knows? I never heard from her after she left. My dad said he didn't know anything, and my friends from the wedding said they didn't know where she went either. 8. Did I report Anna? I tried. Unfortunately, I grew up in a country with some outdated ideas and I wasn't taken seriously by the police. Finally, I know that my in-laws were biased and that they would take Claire's side. I knew that when I agreed to have dinner with them, but I genuinely wanted to know if there was something Claire wasn't telling me. I was, and still am, confused and full of doubts about the whole kids thing, so I wanted to understand where she was coming from and what she was feeling. I just never imagined they felt the way they did about my son. I don't see Archie as my son. Oop. Thanks for this comment update 1. I appreciate everyone who took the time to read my previous post and commented with their advice. I was happy to see so many people sharing their own experiences as step-parents or stepchildren and those who tried to put themselves in my wife's shoes. It gave me a new perspective and that helped a lot. I also saw some people asking for an update, so here it is. Since Archie plays football every Saturday, I asked a friend of us, whose son is also on the team, if she could look after Archie for a while. I wanted to have this conversation with Claire without my son present in case we started arguing again, so we just headed home to Tall after the game ended. I know a lot of people said I should just divorce my wife both to protect my son and to let her move on, but, please don't be mad at me, when we sat down to talk I wasn't ready to give up on my marriage just yet. At that moment I was willing to compromise with Claire about a second child as long as we got couples therapy to address her and her family's feelings towards Archie. Even after the initial fight, when I said I wanted a vasectomy, I was mostly confused about what to do since I just wanted my family to be happy. Anyway, I started by asking her to explain why and when she had changed her mind. Claire started to apologize right away and she told me that she had always dreamed of having a big family. She said that she tried to convince herself that she could accept not having children because she really loved me and she also loved Archie. She admitted to lying when I had asked her about it because she didn't want to break up and she felt I was giving her an ultimatum of either choosing having kids or choosing me. I never intended it to be one, I just didn't think it was fair for any of us to be in a relationship if our goals didn't align. She also admitted that she had always been hoping I would change my mind once I saw what an excellent mom she was to Archie. What surprised me the most is that apparently my mill tried to convince her not to get married because it wasn't fair of her to expect me to change. Claire also told me it was Mill's idea to babysit Archie and do all those things together so my wife could bond with him and get used to the idea that he may end up being our only child. When I asked her why her mom had made the comments about blood being important, Claire said she had asked her parents to say that to convince me why it was important for her to have her own kids. I told her how hurt I had been by what they said and also when she told me she had changed her mind about the adoption. Claire said she was just scared that one day Archie would want to reconnect with his birth mother and that he wouldn't love her anymore. Apparently she had been reading a lot of stories from other step-parents who had been cast aside, especially when the birth parents showed up again or if there was a divorce involved. Her anxiety got worse around a year ago. According to Claire, she had always introduced herself as Archie's stepmom when she picked him up from the daycare because she didn't want to take Anna's place. I lost my patience and reminded her that Anna abandoned us so there was no place to take. At this point we started arguing and going in circles. She accused me of not understanding how hard it is to be a step-parent and I told her she was fighting against windmills. After we calmed down a bit, she told me she got even more scared of being replaced when Archie started asking about his mom. She also felt guilty because she was sure he only asked because she kept correcting everyone about the whole mother/stepmother thing. She also said I made it worse because I didn't tell him the truth about Anna and tried to sugarcoat things by telling him that his mom felt guilty because he had been born very sick and she didn't want to see him suffer. Honestly, I just didn't know what to tell him because I didn't want him to feel sad about being abandoned. Claire accused me of still caring about Anna, WTF, and that's why I didn't want to paint her in a bad light. When I told her I just panicked and made up a lie in that moment, she said I should have just refused to answer and take Archie to a therapist. We did get him one the same month. That's when Claire said I should have tried to find Anna so we could have split custody and Archie could be with his real mom. I admit I lost it and started yelling at her that Anna was just a horrible person and that if it were up to me she'd never see Archie. She had SA'd me, she had tried to manipulate me when she got pregnant, she had abandoned my son right after he was born and, after all these years, she had never bothered to reach out. Claire yelled back saying I couldn't understand what a woman goes through and that maybe she left because of PPD and that I made it worse by just giving up and moving to another country where Anna couldn't find me. I said that wasn't the reason why we left and she knew it. I also told her how everyone who knew me back home had NING contact information and my address so it's not like I was hiding. What finally broke me is that she said it was my fault, that Anna left because I refused to step up and do the right thing by marrying Anna. She tried to apologize right away and said she didn't mean it but I just told her to leave and that I wanted a divorce. I'm ashamed to admit it but I just locked myself in Archie's room and started to cry like a baby until she left. She just packed some stuff and later sent me a text saying she'd be staying with her parents. The rest of the day was a blur. I went to pick up my son and briefly told NY friend I was getting a divorce. She and her wife hugged me and told me they would support us in any way they could, especially if I needed someone to look after Archie. I spent the rest of the day with him and we decided to have a pijamada, just the two of us. We ordered pizza, played with his new toys and watched some movies until he fell asleep. Since I can't sleep, I thought I'd write this update to vent or something. I feel like my life just imploded and I'm so heartbroken. I don't even know how Archie is gonna take it, so that's also gonna be hard.